I'm not for people mocking Islam just to mock it and insult it. All right. But I am for saying the truth and bringing up issues that are problematic, like I did. Okay. That's legitimate stuff, and talking about it. And to try to shut that down by calling it whatever, Islamophobic, yeah, well, that's when we know you have an agenda. I believe in free speech. If you want to burn the Quran or whatever, I don't care about that. But I myself, that's not what I'm looking at here. I'm talking about how they want to shut down actual free thinking and free speech. And as it happens, the problem with Islam, and I've said this many times before, is it's built on it's a house of cards. It's so easily collapsed. And that's why it has all these safeguards, blasphemy and apostasy. You can't. Everything I've said is blasphemy, okay? Not because it's true. It's not true, but because it might make a Muslim question their faith. We can't have that. Okay, because there are so many questions if you look at Islam and its prophet and how everything he said and what the Quran says. So we can't have you thinking outside the box. You have to go by our interpretation. It's not what you think. It's not what's plainly in front of you. Because, yeah, if you do go with that, Islam collapses. So it needs all these safeguards. Same thing with apostasy. Yusuf al-Qaradawi, one of the most famous theologians, Egyptian, he died a few years back, but he said if it wasn't for the law of apostasy, Islam would have died in his cradle, which is true. He was referring to the apostasy wars after Muhammad died. So many Arabs who were nominal Muslims tried to break away. And then there was the apostasy wars under Abu Bakr, the first caliph, to bring back Muslims into the fold of Islam, lest they get crazy thoughts about, breaking away. Same thing with the blasphemy. You can't ask too many questions. Don't rock the boat, right? So, yeah. And it's interesting because that is also how the so-called left operates. They, too, are in a house of cards. If people can think and are not censored constantly, they're going to realize that so much of leftist talking points, as they're called, are just have no foundation. Okay, so we have to create blasphemy codes against Western people. It's not called blasphemy, of course, but it's called hate speech, right? Just like the Islamophobia. No, you can't think that because that's hate, right? So, yeah, there's something about these creeds, whether they're secular or religious, that insist on hate speech codes. Yeah, the reality is they're so weak, and there's that if anyone casts any question about them, they crumble and fall apart. That's why. And so the rest of us are supposed to play this game by calling their censorship hate speech because we're so concerned about human rights. If those UN people who created the Islamophobia Combat Awareness Day, March 15th, and it's all posited in completely human rights language and jargon. And if those people really thought of it as a human rights thing, where were they for all those Christians who are being killed, the list that I gave you, that long list, and who are being killed right now in the moment? Why don't they ever talk about them? If this is really about human rights, irrespective of religion, that's what they claim, right? They don't care about who believes what. We just want to preserve your human rights. And yet, not a word for the Christians who are being mass slaughtered and carnage, right? But we want to talk about hate speech against Islam. Yeah, you mean you want to shut down real criticism against Islam because there's no response other than to shut people down, right? It should be obvious at this point.